Chargers draft analysis. Could we see the Chargers selecting at number 5 overall Georgia's tight end Brock Bowers? More of this here on Chargers Syndicate. What's going on, you guys? Jake Silva here on Chargers Syndicate, giving you everything Chargers news. If it is your first time ever here on the channel, I encourage all of you guys to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button to keep you up to date for future and past videos, as well of analysis, news, and so much more here on everything LA Chargers. So we're getting into it with the Chargers draft analysis, and one of our potential draftees that we are taking a look at is, of course, the big name tight end from Georgia, Brock Bowers. Bowers, since he's been in Georgia, has been an absolute force to be reckoned with in the SEC, and he's proven that he is one of the most elite caliber tight ends going into the NFL draft. I've been saying it for the last few years that I think that this guy's going to be the next Rob Gronkowski going into this league because of his physical build, but also, too, his ability to really kind of adapt to many offenses, especially when it comes to his strength, when it comes to his agility, and his ability also to get open up and in the middle. Brock Bowers, as we kind of break it down here with his stats, all throughout his 3 years in Georgia, he's been a guy that has been fed the ball more times than a lot of different Georgia wide receivers as well in this group. But Bowers is something special as well. As you could kind of see here, he had 56 catches in 21 for 882 yards and averaging 15 yards a play, which is the most impressive that we look at for the Chargers when it comes to their next tight end position. Plus, he also scored, this was his freshman year as well, he scored 13 touchdowns amongst that as well. And it still continued on all through 22 and 23. Where in 22, he had 63 catches for 942 receiving yards, 15 yards a play as well, and scored 7 times, all the way until his last season here with Georgia, where he had 56 catches, 714 yards, 12.8 yards a play, and 6 scores before he went down with the injury. But it just comes to show that Brock Bowers is just elite. He's elite in a lot of different areas and in a lot of different categories. A guy that is willing to be very reliable when it comes to offensive passing schematics, but he's also somebody that is also willing to block, to giving Justin Herbert extra time to find his reliable targets, and is able to give him a comfortable pocket when in case something does happen on the offensive line. Brock Bowers is everything that you want him to be as far as an elite level tight end, a guy with such great physical attributes that he carries on, but also somebody that really can be a force on the offense that could help the team really win more games. I've said it too, that I think that if Brock Bowers gets drafted by the Chargers, in my opinion, the winning percentage starts to go up. So potentially, if you see this team trying to win at least, 10 to 11, he may end up giving you one more extra win at least 12, but that's because of some of the percentages when it comes to opponents that they're facing off against, of their ranks against tight ends. But at the same time, he's also somebody that could build along with the culture for the Chargers that really gives the Chargers an extra edge depending on their opponents that they're facing off against. Now, the Chargers have been needing to find one of their big elite tight ends. Now, the last 2 years, they did have Gerald Everett, and I thought he was pretty decent, and he was somebody that was helping out when it came to red zone scoring offense, and he has done his dues with that. But we also want somebody that we could build around at least for the next 5+ years. Because if you already look at the state of the AFC West, a lot of the tight ends have already been solidified. Go and look at Travis Kelce. Do I need to say more about him with Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes and what he's really meant to that team when it comes to getting open downfield and really kind of getting more of conversions when it comes to 3rd or 4th down conversions, helping the Chiefs to win more games? He's really been, the jack of all trades. And the Raiders at one point did have Darren Waller before trading him away to the New York Giants. But even so, they then upgraded and they ended up getting Michael Mayer, the tight end from Notre Dame. But he's another force that he's also to be reckoned with down the middle. And that is the problem that the Chargers have been having defensively is they've had opponents with really good tight ends that know how to get open midfield, and they don't even have one of their own that knows how to get open midfield. Brock Bowers is the perfect candidate to really end up solidifying that position and to giving the Chargers an extra edge that they need to in order for them to really get the offense on the field, score more often, and also get more first downs along with it. And I think Brock Bowers really does do a lot for the Chargers. And the Chargers, when it comes to Justin Herbert, you got to give Justin Herbert at least another secondary weapon that's there, because you already know the relationship between him and Keenan Allen are so strong that they need a secondary guy that's really going to help him out with that area as well. If you really think about it, the Chargers for years, they've been really, really good when it came to tight end and quarterback, because look at the years when they had Dan Fouts and Kellen Winslow, and then they had Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates. They haven't had a more dynamic tight end at that position at all since Antonio Gates ended up retiring. So they've been trying to solidify that position now for the last few years. Hasn't worked with Hunter Henry because he was hurt a bunch. Hasn't worked with, Gerald Everett, even though he's been really good when it came to red zone situational offense, but he's not the everyday tight end that at least the Chargers are looking for. And they also have a lot of, different secondary situational tight ends as well, that's not even going to work for them at all either. So I think if you bring Brock Bowers in to this organization, Jim Harbaugh, he has had so much film and so much study on him in college when he was at Georgia, and they love his athletic abilities. They love the fact that not only is it that he can get open, but he's also another guy that has such great explosiveness when it comes to you get the ball in his hands and he goes to run for yards after the catch. Another one of those traits that the Chargers really have been working on and they've been really good at as well, because one, they've got Keenan Allen, who's one of the best route runners in the league, but also they got to have a guy that's willing to get more yards after the catch. But the other thing is that even with his physical build, he's not afraid to get dirty. He's not afraid to, take hits, but also give you important first downs to keep the possession on the offense. So it's one of those things that I would love to see Brock Bowers in a Chargers uniform and be a part of this strong culture that Jim Harbaugh is potentially building for him and for Justin Herbert. And I think Brock Bowers being a part of that is going to be something that many teams are going to be put on notice for, especially Kansas City in the AFC West. So hopefully, Brock Bowers, I think he's the real deal. People have to kind of get over, at least, from his injury perspective of what he had last season and a couple times in his career, and just think about some of the good tangibles that he has when he's in the league. A few pros to basically give about Brock Bowers before wrapping this up is one, his physical ability allows him to be a force to be reckoned with. He's got great hands when it comes to being a pass-catching tight end, but also being somebody that also allows secondary blocks as well. But the other thing that's big about him, he is not afraid to get aggressive when it comes to yards after the catch, where defenses are going to get tired out because they don't want to hit this guy. This guy's too strong. The guy's just going to be, he's like a bulldozer that's going to be coming right at you at least 100 miles an hour. So that is a guy that I would love to have from there. The cons are, one, he needs to get more dynamic when it comes to his route runnings. It seems like he's kind of stuck a little bit more in one-dimensional, but that's something I think Jim Harbaugh could very much help him out with when it comes to tight end build. Another reason of it is, too, has injury concerns. The only hope that I think Charger fans could really be hopeful for is that he doesn't suffer an injury that could potentially have him sidelined, and then the promises of having a big, tough offense now starts to go out the window. But I think these are all very good analysis and concerns as well for Brock Bowers. If we're going to bring him into the Chargers and he's going to build with this culture, I think this guy definitely lives and breathes Charger football and what they're about to really build for the next few years on. Appreciate you guys checking out this video here and more. Like I said, like, subscribe, and hit the bell button to keep you up to date for more videos here on Charger Syndicate. Jake Silva signing off, and we'll see you in the next video of Charger Syndicate.